even now, the system in the States, they look at the father just, where's the check? Do you have a job? Can you pay?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Whether you love the child or you spend time or you're affectionate or it doesn't matter. It's like, can you pay? And that's it. I was presenting in a prison, and there was an interesting conversation about the role of the male who is in prison. And a lot of the men I spoke to are fathers, but they cannot see the child. And the mothers, I don't know what the French word is, they used, their perception was that the mothers use the children as a pawn. Mm-hmm. So no, you cannot see your child. I want you to do these things, but you cannot see your child. So it's very manipulative. The women have a different story. When I talk to the women in prison, they're like, we have no choice. We are mothers, so we have to be there for our children. We have no choice. And you are having all these pictures of fathers, and you're celebrating good fathers. Nobody cares about. We're just doing our job, but nobody cares. The father actually hates the picture. He doesn't like it at all because, he's like, I don't want the world to see me weak. And I said, it's not weakness. You're being vulnerable. You're showing emotion. That's not weakness. But somehow there's a perception in the media that black males cannot be seen as weak. And many internalize it. They internalize this sort of message, and then there's a perception that somehow any form of vulnerability is something that's not to be desired. What happened is actually had a really stressful day, and he came home just, it's not sadness, he was exhausted, and just everything is too much, and he didn't, usually when he becomes like this, he just sends me away. He's like, no photos today, just, come back tomorrow, but not today. But that day he was so tired, he couldn't even tell me to go away. He just, I don't want anything, I don't want to talk to anyone. So he ran into the bathroom and sort of stayed there for an hour, and I kind of followed him. And I just sat down next to him and just started to talk to see if he's okay. And eventually he allowed me to take some pictures. But at the same time, he's like, I don't want my son to see me like this. So, and for him, it was also a problem to show me that side of the story. That's very much real, but he didn't want to acknowledge it. And he actually said, delete the picture. When I showed him on the camera, he's like, oh, no, delete this picture, I hate it. But, now he likes it. This is an interesting picture because the father is going through divorce, and the question is who gets custody. Yeah. And in the eyes of the court, the judge, he sees the single father who can't afford to go send the child to kindergarten, who, the child is at the barbershop where it shouldn't be, so he's a terrible father. That's all the judge sees, right? So he used the picture as evidence to say no, because the mother is saying that the child is afraid of the father, the child hates the father. And so actually I had to go to court to testify.
Really?
with this picture to say, no, my observation is the child does not hate the father, the child very much loves and trusts the father, and you cannot fake it. You cannot fake this. And you cannot tell the child to pose like this. And the judge looked at it as like, so now instead of giving custody to the mother, they have dual custody, joint custody. And I didn't expect to be in court. It looks like a very sweet picture, but for me, I want people to see the sweetness and then also ask questions. And the questions are, the child is 4 years old. Why is the child in a barbershop? Should the child not be in kindergarten or in preschool? The story is the father is too poor to afford kindergarten. He cannot pay for kindergarten. Like in the States, it costs a lot of money. But he doesn't want to abandon the child, so he said, my child is going to be with me, and he's a barber, and so the child is at the shop with him, kind of showing that fathers don't have to always be the best role models how society wants to see them. They try their best in a bad situation. It's really a question of what is our expectation as good. What is good parenting? Yeah. Is it to be able to afford the best school? Is that a good parent? Exactly. Or is a good parent somebody that is spending time? I'm spending my time and attention on my child and making sure the child is happy. Yeah. Is that a good parent? So I'm putting that question out there, right? So because in the States it's all about money, and if you can afford the best schools, that means you're a good parent. They live in a housing project, social housing project. When they're stressed, they go on the roof, and it's quiet, and they can sort of relax and kind of not think about the world. But for me, this was interesting because they're literally hiding from the world. You can see in New York, like Midtown, you see the Empire State Building, and it's very close. It's only 2 kilometers. I mean, but one day I asked him, "Oh, do you know this building?" And he said, "No," because I said, "Maybe we can go there and take some pictures." And he's like, "Why?" How I take the pictures is I go live with the families. I don't just go take pictures and leave. I literally become part of the families. And they're watching television, and he fell asleep. And they're on the floor. I mean, there's nothing. But people said, "Oh, the baby's on the floor. It shouldn't be on the floor. He's a terrible father." And I said, "Look, the baby's obviously sleeping. If it was not comfortable, the baby wouldn't sleep." So I posted a picture of a white father falling asleep on the floor, and people said, "Oh, that's cute and wonderful." And he's a terrible father because he's black. So not because he's on the floor, right? So it's sort of, or people find reasons, even though. For me, that's a very sweet picture. It's very sweet and affectionate. But people find reasons to make it negative more often than when they see pictures of a father who's not black. For me, this was interesting because I'm there. You can imagine the noise, the kids screaming and running, and I'm so stressed. I'm so tired, just like, oh my God, this is like, and the father is very calm. He just came back from work. He said, when I'm at home with my kids, it's like meditation. Like I feel like I'm not stressed at all. It actually makes me feel very centered. He's very calm, and I'm stressed with the camera, like, oh God, this is very busy, and these kids are driving me crazy. But he loves when the kids are around him, because for him it doesn't give him stress. It actually relieves stress for him. So that was sort of interesting for me, where there's so much busyness happening, but he's very calm, and for me that was important in this picture. When people in the media say black men are terrible fathers or absent fathers, it's the same thing as saying black men are criminals, thugs, dangerous, aggressive, violent. And that's why the police is using that as an excuse to do what they do. And for me, I wanted to show there's a relationship between seeing black men as criminals and seeing black men as terrible fathers. It's the same character assassination. I'm not saying black men are perfect. I'm saying they're human beings, deserving to be looked at very, yeah. So my personal story is I had a black father who ran away. It was for me to, it was for me personally, it was to look at all these pictures of black men that are present. They're not perfect, they're not rich, they don't have money, but they're trying their best. And for me, looking at that every day, photographing, because I was really angry about my own father not being there. So for me personally, it was about forgiveness. And, my father did what he did, but I wanted to forgive my father for what he did. That's my personal message.